Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Williams. I have been the temporary chair for this year since I was permanent chair last year, and we have called this together tonight in order for us to have an organizational meeting and get some information directly from the horse's mouth.
You're technically the convener.
Yeah, from the horse's mouth with regards to all of the differences of opinion as it pertains to, how would you describe it, buckets, reserve accounts, and things of that sort, as well as verbiage, terminology that Mr. Gore has been talking about for a long time and soon to have his day in court. So without any further ado, before we get started, I think everybody needs to know who everybody is. Roland, can you start out at this end and we'll just get down?
Roland Waterhouse. I live up on Acton Ridge Road. This is my first official seat on the Warrant and Finance. I've been an alternate for the past 2 years.
My name is Lois Mishu. I live on Mills Road. I just went from being an alternate to a regular this past season, and hopefully this will be the second time I've been here, and the first time regular, and hopefully we have a good year.
I'm Tom Gore. I live on Newburgh Road. Been serving probably on this committee. Nancy, are you? Yeah, too long. Too long. I'm too old and trying to retire, but in the meantime, I keep showing up.
I'm William Williams, I live on Sunset Boulevard, and I was chair of Warrant and Finance during the last committee of 2016-2017, and was re-elected at the last town meeting for a full term for another 2 years.
I'm Sarah Cognata. I live on the Hoppa, and I'm halfway through my first regular term.
I'm Nancy Ruma. I live on Sam Page Road, and like Tom, I've served for a while. Still here.
I'm Susan. No, go ahead. I'm Susan Meehan. I live on Sam Page Road. I am an alternate for the first year.
Virginia Shea, recently appointed as an alternate. I live on Patriot Lane in Eagle Crest.
Very good. One thing that the town administrator wanted us to do was to make sure that she had telephone numbers, the ones that we would like to use for this coming year, and also to let people know, at least the 2 new members who are alternates, Ms. Me and Ms. Shea, about what you're going to be as far as your email address on the town server. And so Ms. Meehan is going to be WF4, and Ms. Shea is going to be WF2. And we'll talk about that in just a second. Basically, what this is a all communication officially should be done on this server of the towns, and we don't use anyone's private email. And so, if you go to Jennifer, if you go to Jennifer, she will give you all of the website and all that to go to in order to download the webmail server for your computers.
As well as your password.
As well as your password, yes. Okay. So those 2 things have to be done. The other thing that has to be done is that we have myself and Mr. Waterhouse have copies of the ordinance that we have conducted an educational process for freedom of information. It's required by the state of Maine for any governmental group that has anything to do with money. And so I have here for everyone else except for Mr. Waterhouse and myself a form that gives you the email address on Maine government so that you can have a little questionnaire, which is easy to do, and the questionnaire itself has all the information necessary. There's no test that's actually given, and there's also then this certification of completion, which is easy to do. It really is required of everybody who has anything to do with state government, and to make yourself at least basically knowledgeable as far as freedom of information. And just sign it and turn it in to Ms. Rue, and then all of the paperwork stuff to be on the committee is finished, as far as I know. So, without any further ado, I would like to go ahead and open up the committee for nomination for chairperson.
Yes, Mr. Convener, I would nominate William Williams to chair the committee this year.
Second.
Okay. Any other nominations, please?
Motion to close nominations.
There's a motion to close nominations. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All of you are closing the nomination? Okay. We vote then, I guess. Me against the air?
Well, we do have to have a vote, so I will recommend that Nancy Roma cast a vote for William Williams to be chairman of the Warrant and Finance, the fiscal year 2018 Warrant and Finance.
So done. So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor of Mr. Gore's motion? Thank you all. Let me give a little bit of a starter here. We had not been organized yet for this new committee year, 2017-2018. And Mr. Gore had spoken with members of the Board of Selectmen about his desire to do some changing of ideas as far as nomenclature, vocabulary, as to how, what is appropriate for warrant articles and things of that sort. Also, I think that he had some very good points about the fact that over the years there's been an erosion of the power of the voter at town meetings in lieu of more power going to the boards of
Go ahead and finish, but I'd like to correct one thing you said.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, simply this, that I have not spoken with the selectmen regarding these discussions directly, only as it has occurred in town meeting.
Right.
My effort has been to bring these issues to the committee, gain a consensus on the committee as to how we're supposed to proceed before we start addressing the selectmen on some of these issues.
Now, he had started this process back in the spring, and there's a great deal of material on the website, our website, and so in preparation for this, the meeting that was supposed to be held this coming Tuesday was postponed because the auditor who was going to be present couldn't be present. It's been rescheduled now for approximately the 26th of this month. And we will meet with the Board of Selectmen and with the auditor and go over some of Mr. Gore's proposals. I told him it wasn't fair for this committee to even try to do that unless they at least had some background. So I took the liberty of copying out everything that I had on my website, and we're going to go over that in just a few minutes. And Mr. Gore's going to tell us which of these things are still good and which of these things are not still good, and perhaps has some new goodies that we can see. But this is going to be for nighttime reading, going to sleep for some of us, but it'll at least give you some idea of what he's trying to do so that you don't have to walk into the meeting totally empty-handed and unaware of what's going on. Before we do anything more, however, I am reminded that we have to choose a secretary for the committee.
Nominate Lois Mishu, please.
And nominations are open, and there's a for Ms. Michaud.
I'll second it.
Seconded. Any other nominations, please?
Move the nominations be closed.
Is there a second on that one?
Second.
Okay, they've been moved and closed that Ms. Michaud be the secretary, and I promised her I will help her with the minutes. If there's no further nominees, all in favor of Ms. Michaud as the secretary, raise your hand or say aye. All opposed? Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, this is the whole story. At this point, we're not really here to discuss all of this information. It's overwhelming. It would take a couple hours to do so. And I said, this is an organizational meeting, so we're going to make this quick. I appreciate everyone's being able to come today. Tom, you're going to have about 5 to 10 minutes max to let everybody know, what is in this packet that is no longer appropriate for our eyes to read.
Well, I think it's all appropriate. It was an evolving document, but this came about because I had some concerns with both our discussions, as all of you know, and use or misuse or misinterpretation or misunderstanding of what terms meant in the process of the town meeting, and then I expanded on it as I began to write my understanding of the terminology of the town meeting. I realized that this needed a lot of background, so there are several evolutions of each of these documents. The beginning, well, let me.
They're all numbered.
Okay, yeah. The first one that I drafted is town meeting processes and terms, in which I attempt to explain my definition or my understanding of what the terms mean. The relevant document is dated 6/5/17.
It would be better to do that when it is numbered.
The only problem is I want to know if
That's right.
you can find that, if it's 6/5/17, that's what matters. That's the most current version of that document.
Yeah, here, it's right here on pages 2.
Okay.
Let me see, 1A and 2A. This is it here, look at it, 6/5/17,
Right.
School Department warrant critique.
No,
sorry.
it's town meeting processes and terms. The label of it is town meeting processes and terms.
What I have is,
Yes, here it is, okay, it's right here. It's here, on page 3A.
Okay.
So this is 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A. Those are the good ones.
Okay.
Okay, got that, guys?
Okay, and you folks all know where this came from, because it came out of a discussion with the school board earlier this year, and as a result of discussions with the school board for the past 3 years regarding their terminology and their warrant. Okay, so that's one of the things we...
While you're talking first about the school board, in a minute, I gotta hold myself back from making a lot of discussions. You also made a statement once that having an ending sentence, that this is going to be approved only when it's voted on by the people. Do you remember that?
What's going to be...
An article in a warrant, for example.
It has no standing until it's voted on by...
But to have that sentence placed in there, that was one of the things that you talked about at the school board.
I don't remember.
You don't remember that? And...
Oh, yeah, that had to do with reserve funds. That had to do with certain funds.
Certain funds, I didn't see that in there.
Okay, all right.
But that was something, you took it out, okay.
You may explain the why. Okay, the second of these, and you're all somewhat, well, maybe you're not. Nancy, I know, is familiar with this, the issue involving reserve funds that the school has. We have had discussions for 3 years. I contend that these funds were illegally established. This board found that 2 years ago. It's labeled town meeting, town of Acton reserve funds. Okay, it's a document and it's dated 6/5/17.
Hold on, town of Acton reserve fund.
Okay.
Wait,
What page is that on?
well, we're looking, because he's not using the same thing that we're using. Town of Acton reserve funds, there we go. Okay, page 104, 6/5/17.
If you...
6/5/17?
6/5/17.
It's page 15. And this is a good group to study for, right? Page 15 through 18.
We back up just a second. I sent all you folks this information on 6/6 of this year. So you should all have a visual form on your computer in a PDF file that might email to you. However,
We have some people who are new to the website, so you can't.
there were there are two issues referred to in this document, which I can supply to you if you wish. There were two legal opinions that arose as a result of my, or I should say, our Warrant and Finance raising the issue about the legality of these funds. And they were an opinion written by the municipal attorney for the selectmen, advising them that Warrant and Finance was correct, that the spending of those funds required an action by the town meeting specifically to expend those funds. Well, the school board was saying they did not need a...
And what's the title of that one? Is it
That
in this
one
packet?
is, no, it's not.
Oh, okay.
That was, in my note to you in the 616 email, I said that I would provide those to you in email form
And did
if you so wish. No, because I didn't have anybody request it. It's an opinion from Work and Plea dated March 24, 2015.
Okay, can you
Addressed to the Board of
send
Selectmen.
that to me?
I will
make
send
sure
that
it's
to you.
disseminated to everybody.
There was a second opinion then, which the school board sought from its attorney, which is dated April 3, 2015, and was subsequently delivered to I don't know whom.
2015?
But we obtained a copy of it. It is dated April 3rd, 2015.
Okay.
Okay? And that is from William Stockmeyer, in which he says, well, he says, you really are supposed to do what the town attorney says, but he says, we talked with a bunch of people over at the Board of Education, they kind of agree with us that you probably really don't have to. But you can all read that opinion and decide for yourself. Quite frankly, it's the worst legal opinion I've ever seen in my life, and I do a lot of work with lawyers. And if a lawyer came to me and offered me an opinion like that, or if I sent this up, I think, to the bar in Augusta at the Supreme Court, I think he'd be in line for an action. But
again,
I don't want to go there.
don't go there.
Right.
But I may also say that the AAA's primary audience are school boards that are large consolidated districts and not separate departments of a town.
Right.
And therefore, I'm sure that their opinion that sort of squashes the voice of voters at a town meeting is something that he doesn't deal with very often.
I think everybody can read the opinion and come to their own conclusion with respect to that opinion. In any case, the
There's two
attorney...
legal opinions dated the 3rd of April 2015 that you're going to send to me, that I will send out to everybody.
Right.
Okay.
The important part to remember with respect to this is that the selectmen are utterly responsible for any expenditure of funds, any disbursement of funds. So the selectmen should be doing what their attorney says. The Stockmeyer letter is the attorney advocating for the position of the school board. The school board has no authority to spend any municipal funds at all. The selectmen, as municipal officials, are solely legally responsible for expenditure of any funds in the town. Okay, then there was a third document. Excuse me, I'll move on unless somebody has a question. I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible.
And that would be through their approval and signing of the warrant every week.
Beg your pardon?
That would be through their approving and signing the warrant for the expenditures.
Yes, what's happening here is, I think, but I don't know, but you're right, it's a treasurer's warrant. The treasurer's warrant is presented, it's not a legal document when it's presented. It becomes illegal when the selectmen sign it. And they are the only people, well, the treasurer and the selectmen are the only people that have any authority with municipal funds.
Question, didn't they change that a few years ago?
They can't change it.
But I'm just saying, did they?
We're discussing it now, and we really shouldn't. We should do our reading first. We have 3A to 5A, 15 to 18, two legal opinions, one of which is dated the 3rd of April 2015, and the other legal opinion that you haven't sent to us yet is on, what's the date on that one?
Wait a minute.
You said there were two legal
There are
opinions.
two legal opinions. The
One
school
is-
board opinion is dated, that's the Stockmeyer opinion.
Stockmeyer, which is 4-3.
It's 4-3-2015. The other legal opinion is the municipal attorney, Bradley Martin, and that's dated March 24, you're right.
March 24 of 2015 also? Okay,
Okay.
so that's 4 documents
And
now
who
so
was
far.
the attorney on that one, please?
Brad Warren.
Okay.
Yeah, one more piece of.
Well, I actually have 2, only one of which has been sent. And this is also dated 6/15, and this was specifically a school department warrant critique. where
Okay,
I
that
read-
may be in here. What's the date on it?
It's 6/5/17, and this has also been sent to everybody.
657, hold on a second.
Yeah, that's on page 15, that's the one we're talking about.
Yeah. That's, this one here?
And it
No, no,
continues.
no.
It's
Fiscal
4
year,
pages long.
fiscal year 2018 school department warrant critique is the title.
That was right at the beginning.
Yep,
Okay.
page 1.
And then there is one other document.
Page, just a second, page 1 and 2. Now, there's also a second copy of that was dated, school department warrant critique dated the 5th of June, which we have 1A and 2A. Which one is it?
Well, it's the most recently dated.
Oh, okay, so forget 1 and 2, it's gonna be 1A and 2A.
There's one other document that I put together, and it's titled Origination and Establishment. And this is dated 8/22/17, and that's been sent to nobody yet except Bill, but he tells me it's in there. And the purpose of this document is to describe for everybody where the authority of the municipality and municipal officers and officials comes from, where it originates, and how it is implemented, okay?
And what's the title on that
The
one?
title of that one is Origination and Establishment.
Are you sure that's not in here?
No, you told me it wasn't. That's the last one I sent you, and that one's dated 8/22/17.
Origination establishment, yes, we have it here, just a second.
Yeah, page 19.
Page 19, look at this and see if that's it.
19,
Well, is it dated
19 and 20.
8/22? Yep.
The last page.
Okay, so that's 19 and 20. Is that it then?
Well, let everybody else know what I have here, okay?
What else do we need so that we're well versed when we have a meeting on the 26th?
Depends on what you want, but what I have done is I have copied, going back from every warrant that has been prepared since 2008. I have gone back over all those warrants, and I have copied out all the articles that referred to either a carried fund or a reserve fund, capital reserve or small reserve being a generally reserve that is generally used or reserve as established by statute. Okay, and I have copies of all those articles right here.
Are they listed in this packet yet?
They're referred to, they are not listed.
No, in this packet that we
No,
prepared
I don't
for.
think you have. And then I went back and
How many pages is that one?
like 17 or 18.
Hey,
You know what I can do if you wish? I can put these in Dropbox, and then you can download them if you want. Does everybody use Dropboxes? No?
I have no idea what you're talking
I
about.
don't know that.
Okay, all right, then we can make copies, okay? I don't have a problem. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna make copies, but the town can make copies if you wanna go through this.
Okay, and this is called carried reserve funds? What's the title?
It doesn't really have a title. It's
What's
just-
the date on it?
It's just a copy. I don't-
He said,
Is there a date on
I
it?
got town warrants from 2008 to present.
Right. Copies of all articles in the town, okay, here it is. It's carried in municipal, quote, reserve, unquote, fund history
Right.
Okay,
from 2008 to, I think the last one is, 2017 warrant, June,
You going as far as this year's?
yeah,
Okay.
2017.
Until
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah, 2017.
and that's the last of the papers that we need to know?
Yeah, well, and then to avoid handling 17 pages, because what's really relevant here with respect to the way the way the municipal warrant is being prepared is every year we see a list of these carried articles or reserve articles or whatever they are, and the names change. And there's no continuity, we have no idea, and so, and some of them, 1 year are labeled reserve, and next year they're not labeled reserve, and of course, money is being spent out of them without the authorization of the town meeting, which will be explained in those papers. But, so, just for purposes of comparison, I've made a summary of reserve and statutory reserve funds and carried funds from 208 to 216.
Is that part of this? Or is it separate?
No, it's kind of a summary of all those articles. In other words, I made a separate copy just of the references, because the titles here are what are
Okay.
important and what counts.
Your 10 minutes are up.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I'm just going to rehash this. From what I have gleaned out of this, there are certain papers that we should be looking at in preparation. Some of them are in that pack that you have received. The ones that are in the pack that you need to look at are 3A to 5A, 1A to 2A, 15 through 18, 19 through 20. There's also 2 legal opinions that he's going to get for us that will be sent electronically, or if necessary, if you don't have a good printer, we'll make sure that Ms. Rue has it available for us. One is dated the 3rd of April of 2015, and one is dated the 24th of March 2015.
What was the dates on those?
The 3rd of April 2015 and the 24th of March 2015. In addition to that, he has a 17-page a rehashing of the salient copies of non-continuity of nomenclature, history going from 2008 to 2017, which he's going to make available to us. That's the 3rd piece that you have homework to send to us. And the 4th one is the summary of that lack of continuity of nomenclature.
The legal opinion summary, our origination and establishment, and those are the ones, there are 2 legal opinions there. Now, what I will do...
I said that now, that you got those 2 legal opinions, you have the 17-page and the summary, that's 4 things that you have to provide us with.
Well, wait a minute, the carried and
Reserve.
carried and reserved summary, I can send easily as an email.
Yes.
I cannot send the whole document as an email.
Okay.
Because it's 17 pages.
Yes.
So I'll make a suggestion, either me or Dr. Williams get a full copy of that, we'll make sure the rest of the board gets it.
Make sure everybody gets it, okay? It may be that you're gonna have to come up to the town hall to get it, I'm sorry, but that, it's 17 pages, it's gonna blow the server. Okay, so you have a summary, the 17-page, and the 2 legal opinions that we do not have that you are going to provide us with, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what we have right now are pages 1A to 2A, 3A to 5A, 15 to 18, and 19 to 20 that we have copies of. Okay, and these are the salient documents that the committee needs to look at and get some idea of what's going on here prior to the 26th of this month, when the Board of Selectmen has asked us to meet with them and the auditor. Is that clear in everybody's head? Mr. Gore, do you agree with that?
Well, my preference would be that we would have an opportunity to discuss this ahead of time amongst ourselves before we sat down with the selectmen and auditors, because these are my opinions. I've been at it for 40-some odd years, and I think I know what I'm talking about, but I'd like everybody, if they have a different opinion, I'd like to hear it, and we get it in the paperwork ahead of time before we're sitting down and talking with the selectmen. I don't want to have a discussion amongst the board members in that meeting or in that format.
Okay, let me just stop for a second. We discussed real quickly. The 26th falls on a Tuesday. I assume that the Board of Selectmen want to have the meeting after their 5 o'clock, or perhaps just before
They
their 5
might be changing the
o'clock.
time at that point, you're gonna have to re-ask them.
But it'll be Tuesday the 26th, they
Yeah.
said. Now, do you want to have a meeting the night before on the 25th in order to get the saliency of Mr. Gore's data and opinions? Or do you want to just simply say, if these are the important papers, I just have to have this as my background so that I know what the discussion is going to be about and be able to make some logical conclusions without a session of sitting together? I'm open to discussion and a vote on it.
Let me just insert that I think it would be entirely inappropriate for us for that meeting to evolve into a discussion amongst us as to what this all says. I think we should be going to the select board with a consensus here. That this is what, and it's not necessarily my consensus, it's our consensus. I don't want to go and get involved in a discussion with an auditor and the selectmen when we don't even agree as a committee as to what's happening. That's why it's important.
Well, I'm not sure you're gonna get unanimity on this.
Well.
Number one. Number two, all I'm wanting to make sure is that everybody gets this most important information so that they understand what's going on and can make a conclusion after listening to the auditor and having read all the papers that you've produced. Now, if they feel as though they want to sit down after they've had a chance to absorb all of this and have a discussion the night before, I'm certainly willing to go along with that. If everyone says, look, I now have all the important things that Mr. Gore says I need to be up to date with, and I think that would be sufficient, and I don't want a meeting on Monday the 25th. I'll just go in armed with the information to go in with the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen don't have anything right now, do they?
Yes, they have copies of all this.
I know, but I mean, there's reams, okay? There's reams. Do they know what's salient and what isn't salient? Have you talked with them about, like we have discussed
I sent copies, the same email that I sent to everybody on 6/6 with those 3 documents, I sent to Jen, and she forwarded them to selectmen, so that's where we are.
Is that a yes, that they have the
To
same
the best of my
information?
knowledge, to the best of my knowledge, with the exception of a few documents.
That you're gonna provide us with?
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions.
Please, go ahead.
I don't understand why an auditor is involved, what's the role of the auditor?
I'm with you there.
The auditor was picked by the Board of Selectmen.
The auditor,
I thought it was gonna be a lawyer.
as I understand it, the auditor is, the whole reason for this meeting, which we were invited to be present with the selectmen, is to put to rest the reserve account, capital improvement account, whether these accounts were established properly and with due diligence by the town. That is my understanding for this meeting.
That is my
The reason
understanding also.
that they wanted the auditor to be there was so that they felt that the auditor can best answer the question as to whether or not the particular account is an actual legal reserve account or a legal capital improvement account.
I think that's inappropriate, but that's okay, I can ride with it. The fact is, and this is an issue that comes up repeatedly, we always hear the term legal thrown around. We are unique in New England in that we are a home rule state.
Direct democracy.
When home rule, and fundamental principle in home rule is, when it comes to municipalities and their governance, anything that does not violate state law is legal. That's it. Okay? So you can do anything and call it legal,
Provided that the
provided it doesn't.
provided that the town votes on it to be something that they want.
That's correct.
That's right.
In order to see
If
that.
they want to call the outside of this building green, and the question is put before the town, and they vote upon it, and they say, yes, it's green, then guess what? It's no longer white, it's green. But that not with, that not irrelevant.
Well, especially, New England, especially rural New England, has a direct democracy idea that the voters are the true legislative branch of government, local government. It's a beautiful system, and we're fortunate that we're the only region left in the country, and probably except for Switzerland, the world, where direct voter participation decides issues. And I think, as I said at the beginning, there has been an erosion of this idea as urbanization has occurred and as towns have switched, like Sanford become a city, and the voters don't have that same input directly as they do in smaller towns. And so there's a terminology that needs to be clarified and washed, and I think that was also part of Mr. Gore's desire, is that nomenclature changes and
And we don't know what it means.
and we don't know what it means, there's no definition and a standard.
It should be standardized.
Historically, it has been standardized, but it's been aborted, if you, well, it has been, it's been.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Is there going to be an agenda and who's making it up for this meeting? So that we're not just running amok?
The Board of Selectmen invited, the Board of Selectmen invited us to sit with them as they go through this with the auditor.
We're not gonna go through the
It's
budget.
not our meeting.
We're not gonna do a
Okay.
budget, we're gonna just talk about all of these items that we're gonna read up on and get familiar with.
Okay, we're just invited.
Dr. William,
Yeah.
is there any way to find out when we do all this, what, if there's a limit on how many they can actually have and the amounts they can actually have? I understand, and maybe I'm wrong, but the school has a set budget. After it gets so high and so much in it, they roll it back to the town. Is that possible with all of these? I mean, I don't know if we can have 1 or 101, and I don't know what the limit is.
There is a limit, and Tom, tell me about the limit.
There is a limit that's established by statute, and it's a reasonably recent law, but there's a way to avoid the necessity to do that. And this is exactly what happened in creation of these funds. In order to avoid returning these funds to the town, they buried them in these buckets, what they call buckets. Were you there? You participated in those meetings, right? And this was an idea that, it just took the funds off the table. But in addition to that, it took them out of the view of the town meeting, because once those are in a statutory reserve account, which the school committee insists they are, they never have to appear again before the town meeting. They can be spent without being appropriated, and they don't even have to be carried or anything of that sort. They exist in perpetuity, and the selectmen have total authority over them, and there's...
Not the selectmen. The selectmen don't have nothing to say with how the schools spends their money.
I'm sorry.
All they can do is sign the treasurer's warrant. That's it.
Not quite true, but we can get into that later on. I don't want to get into it. But this is my huge objection to this. These funds just disappeared off the table. And if you go back, I started getting involved in this because what was happening is we had a whole bunch of money lying around.
Large amounts.
Large amounts.
Like in excess to what the law says we should have.
Well, and also because we have money stuck in savings here, and this is all costing us money, okay? Because we pay our taxes, that money gets stuck in the bank, in the town savings account. They can't invest it because they are obligated to hold it in a conservative manner, all right? And that's money that we could be using. It doesn't need to be raised. The fact is that the school, at the end of the audit, at the end of the audit for the fiscal year, the last fiscal year,
15, 16.
had in uncommitted funds, and that's an accounting term, and I'm not sure I'm using it properly, of 20% of the school budget.
Which is.
In other words, they had the school budget, and then they had these funds that were out of our view in an amount of 20% of the school budget, which they could request the selectmen to disperse or spend. And what happens is the school board submits the warrant to the selectmen, okay? and the selectmen actually approved. But there was 20% of the budget. The law either stipulates it's either 3 or 5 is the maximum they can carry forward. But there's a little bit more of a complicating issue here. This year, okay, if that money from 2 years ago or 3 years ago isn't spent, the town could incur a penalty from the state in terms of its subsidy, and in fact, the state, if they caught it, could actually demand some of this money back. All right? That's neither here nor there. That doesn't move us forward, and I don't want to get into that issue because it sidetracks us.
So go back to the original question, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to meet on Monday, the 25th, in preparation for the meeting that we've been invited to on the 26th? I'm open to have other opinions. Does you have another question or opinion about it?
I mean, I think it would be helpful if you had a meeting that would be new, it would be helpful.
Definitely.
If we're not actually involved in it, if we're just there as observers.
No, they didn't say it that way.
They didn't say it that way, they said that we had questions that they were planning on
Yes.
answering and asking.
No, I will insist that it's a participatory event on the part of Warrant and Finance as well as the Board of Selectmen.
But if we want to make sure that our questions get answered, I think we need bullet points of.
And start posing some questions that we perhaps might have. Okay, how about down at this end of the table? Mr. Wilderness, you're in a pensive position like Lord Buddha.
I don't rub his belly, it ain't green.
All right, well, let's have a vote, please.
I have certain questions that I would like answered at this little gathering that we're going to have.
Okay.
I have them posed in my head. I will write my questions down.
Okay.
Do I think we need to have another meeting? It probably would not be a bad idea.
Okay.
All right? As to whether or not Monday is a good day for everybody, I don't know. Perhaps the Thursday before?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't we keep the meetings on a same day basis, because it's a lot easier for some of us to schedule.
Well, let's first talk about whether we're going to have a preliminary preparatory meeting. Do I hear a motion, please?
I make a motion that we do have a preparatory meeting.
Is there a
Prior
second?
to the, what was it, the
26th.
26th.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Any more discussion?
I think, that we need to, as individuals, go through these packets with information that the score provided, and that is available in various sundry forms on the internet. And if you have a question in regard to a particular term, account, balance, whatever, write it down so that, we can go through these questions at our next meeting or at the proposed meeting. And that way we don't necessarily duplicate questions.
Right.
And hopefully we will cover, to the best of our ability, everybody's concerns.
Any other discussion on this, whether we're going to have a preparatory meeting or not?
I think we should just take a vote.
Okay, there's a question for vote. All in favor of having a preparatory meeting prior to the 26th for various reasons, please indicate by saying aye or raising your hand. Any opposition? Okay. Now, the next question is, going to have it the night before, so it's fresh in our minds, or back the Thursday prior?
Like I said, I'd rather keep the meetings steady on one night, only because we're gonna get into the point.
Right.
and this-
Well, normally we've done them on Thursday, but this is sort of a special thing,
Well, the thing is that we'll give you the night before to actually really think about it. Bring your stuff home, think about it, and it's gonna be, I don't think, we're gonna get a list of questions. I believe we're gonna have the chairperson be the only one asking those questions at this point, obviously, because we don't wanna overwhelm whatever's going on. Because if you're gonna have a list of questions, in other words, we're all making up a list of questions. So basically, you're gonna know what we want, so you're gonna probably be the one in charge to ask the question.
I know, hopefully it's not going to be that rigid. I
But
hope
as
everybody
the
is.
conversation goes on with the auditors and board of selectmen, other things are gonna pop in our
Sure.
heads that we want
Sure,
answered.
exactly.
But
Rather than
basically,
feed him notes.
basically, the chairperson usually runs any form of meeting that I've ever been to.
Well, I
Chair
think
the
we were invited as a committee
Mhm.
to join with the Board of Selectmen, and I figured that the rules and regulations of the committee should be that everybody on that committee has the right to ask any questions they want to ask.
I agree.
Agreed, however,
It may not be necessary. We may have put all of our questions together on the preparatory meeting, and it won't be necessary to have any more. But that is certainly too rigid to say one person's supposed to ask questions.
well, not necessarily that you have to answer, or that you have to ask all the questions, Larry Williams. It may be best if we have one spokesman that tries to,
Exactly.
gel everything into one,
I just hope that this is, I don't know the auditor, I don't know the auditor on this, Roland, I have no
I have no
idea
idea either, I
whether
have
this is
no
going to be
clue.
a positive thing.
Yeah.
or a negative thing.
It may or may not be something that is going to answer the questions that
Could very well
people
be.
have in their minds. I am of the opinion that this is something that the selectmen are doing because questions have been raised at town meetings and at various other meetings. And they are recurring questions year after year after year. And they're trying to put it to bed, if you will. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. I applaud the select board for, trying to assist us or, assist the town, if you will, in trying to put this to bed. Everybody has to be on the same page. I have questions. When was this account established? Why was it established?
Was it established legally as a statutory
Et
reserve
cetera.
account? And can
There
you
are-
demonstrate that?
There are numerous things that I have in the back of my mind that I want to know the answers to. Am I going to find out these answers from the three selectmen and the auditor? Maybe not.
Maybe not that night.
But, at least if we ask the questions, then perhaps, just as, not necessarily as a member of the Warrant and Finance, but just as a tax-paying individual from this town, I'd like to know, why is that money in that account? What's it used for? And at what point in time should it be given back to the town? Should it never be given back to the town?
Can't be carried over legally.
Et cetera. So, those are just questions.
Okay.
And I concur with respect to the selectmen moving forward with this.
Well, the auditor changed the auditor changed the date.
Only because he had a conflict.
I
Because he had a conflict, so maybe the 26th is not gonna be the meeting, he's gonna have another conflict perhaps. But right now, it's Tuesday the 26th for the meeting. All those that wanna have a meeting on Monday, the 25th, or Thursday the 21st, which does everyone want?
Well, I will say that I have a prior commitment on the 21st.
On the
So,
21st,
not that I
Thursday?
should be the veto.
No,
but,
that's fine, so you would prefer having it on the 25th? isn't it?
I would.
Okay, Nancy,
It doesn't.
does it make any difference? Yes, ma'am.
Does not make a difference.
I'm
Yes,
not sure without checking my calendar, but being an alternate is, it's.
No, alternates last year's spent almost as much time voting as the non-alternates.
If not more.
If not more, so, Roland, Thursday or Saturday, or Monday?
I'll acquiesce to Monday.
Okay,
I will have to look, Thursday's better, but I need to see what Monday is. I'm
Okay.
not, the first kind of week's off, so.
first part of the week's been, how about you?
Me? I don't have my calendar in front of me and I'm too old to remember what it is.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
still looking at my calendar for the day.
We got 2 or 3 votes for Monday, okay, and we have one person who can't come on the Thursday the 21st. Let's tentatively plan it for Monday the 25th
September 25.
At what time?
at 6 PM, if that's appropriate for everybody.
This works.
I will definitely let you guys know if that changes.
Okay, But, I mean, once you check your calendars, then they can do this by email, okay? And decide whether it's going to be the Monday the 25th or Thursday the 21st at 6 p.m. Now, I'm asked to make sure that everyone knows on the town server what your address is. Ms. Ruma, you're still WF3. Tom, you're still WF5. Mr. Waterhouse, you're still WF6.
8.
Ms. Kodiana, you're 7. And Ms. Michaud is WF8. Ms. Meehan is WF4. And Ms. Shea is WF2.
F as in Frank.
It's
Yes.
Warrant and Finance. The WF is just,
Yeah.
Warrant and Finance, but
Whiskey Foxtrot.
exactly.
Bill, I have 2 other documents that I would like to send to people, if they want them.
Oh,
Okay, these are
okay.
single-page documents.
Might as well send it all.
Yeah.
And the first of these is labeled Town Back and Savings Accounts, and this is the
Is
result.
that in the packet?
No, and it is dated
It's not this?
11/20. If somebody wants it, I'll send
It's
it to
not
them.
this?
Yes, you have it, Sarah. I gave that to you a while back. Oh,
No,
yeah.
this is my.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay.
So
And
is
how
it
about the other one?
Number
The other-
20 what?
Page 21?
Finish what we were saying here.
11/20/16.
And
And
it's
that hasn't
what?
changed.
Page 21.
Town back and savings?
It's page 21 in the packet.
I know, but I'm writing it,
Yeah.
maybe we'll.
Yep.
Understand that when we're talking to the accountants, they're going to be talking about the terms that are defined on this page. They're not going to be talking about legal terms. Legal terms are defined in the other documentation here. They differ, okay? The other document that I have is one that I prepared way back in 2015. I called the cost of unnecessary taxation. And I don't know if you have that, but if you don't have it and would like it, I would be glad to send that to you. The cost of unnecessary taxation.
I think that's on numbers from 15, I'm sure.
What's that?
I'm nervous talking to Mr. Hernandez. Okay, I'm going to go over this one more time. The things that we have in our packet that are good for reading is going to be page 1A to 2A, 3A to 5A, 15 to 18, 19 to 20, and page 21. In addition to this, Mr. Gore is going to give us 2 legal opinions dated 3 April 2015 and 24 March 2015. He's going to have available the 17-page Bible, carried reserve funds, copies of the history of it from 2008 to 2017, and he's also going to produce us a summary of that Bible. And then he's now going to give us also the cost of unnecessary taxation dated what date?
Dated 8/20, wait, it says dated 11/20.
11/20/16, I think.
No, that 11/20, that's the savings account.
So is it 3/19?
3/19.
2000?
What's the date?
3/19.
2015,
Yeah.
okay, which describes what it costs when we.
15th of March.
How and why it costs when we have money in the town savings account as opposed to in our own.
Okay, so everyone has the reading, and we'll make sure that these items that Mr. Gore is going to send us, which now consist of 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 now, right?
5.
Five.
The 2 legals, the
Oh, yeah.
17 page, the summary. And the
Yes,
cost.
okay, and the history we may have to pick up at the town hall, the 17-page Bible. So the 2 legal opinions, the summary of the Bible, and then the cost of unnecessary taxation dated 19 March 2015. Okay?
Tom, you might want to just explain what GASB is.
A government accounting standard board, standards.
Government accounting.
Which was created after California had the massive bankruptcy, well, it wasn't.
And
it
that's-
We're tentatively going to meet on Monday, the 25th, and prepare to sit down and organize our thoughts on it as a preparation for Tuesday, the 26th meeting. I'm not going to accept any other topics at this time.
May I give you 2 pieces of information?
Please.
Number 1, just as a piece of information for the board to digest at their leisure.
Yes.
Next year's audit will be a split audit. In other words, currently, there is nothing that shows how the school spends their money, other than the line item. Next year, the auditor, the auditing company suggested that it would be best served to do a separate audit. Town or the municipality, school. And they're going to do that. Jen just informed me of that. The other little tidbit that I'll drop on you in case none of you have been watching the Board of Selectmen's meeting, and I hate to tell you, I gotta, you're gonna find out, the tax rate went up. It went up 60 cents. Went from 11.30 to 11.90 per thousand.
And that's just the beginning.
And that's just the beginning.
That's all my bad information.
Thank you. I won't
You want
allow you
to
to talk,
speak?
I won't allow you to talk anymore tonight. Okay, if that's clear in everybody's mind, we're gonna go home now. If I can hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's made by Sarah and seconded by Mr. Waterhouse. All in favor, please. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Good night.
Any